TOPA.
¿Cuándo?
Ahora.
¿Qué queremos?
TOPA.
¿Cuándo?
Ahora.
Ok, y estamos y no nos vamos. Si nos echan, regresamos. ¿Ready? Aquí
Estamos, no nos vamos, si nos echan, regresamos.
Good morning, everyone. I am Assembly Member Marcela Mitaynes. I represent the 51st Assembly District. I am also the first immigrant indigenous Peruvian in the state legislature. So before I got into the Assembly, I, like many New Yorkers, were facing my own housing insecurity. In 2006, we got a new owner of a 35-unit rent-stabilized building in Sunset Park. And within 6 months, he was able to displace half of the Latino families that lived there, including mine. We had been living there for close to 30 years when we were forced out of our home. This is something that we're seeing over and over and over again, the over-leveraging of the purchases of our buildings, of our homes, knowing that the rent roll will not match the mortgage payments, let alone make them profit. So what is their plan? Their plan is to tap into those underdeveloped assets by forcing out the tenants that are paying a low amount of rent to bring in new tenants, all while ignoring basic maintenance and repairs that our properties need. This isn't new. This has been happening over and over again. So why not invest in our communities? Why not invest in our people by giving them the opportunity to actually purchase the buildings where they live? And that's where TOPA comes in. TOPA is the Tenants Opportunity to Purchase Act. Why not allow tenants to purchase the buildings in which they are renters at a price that is fair to the seller and the purchaser? Why not create a pathway and a mobility from working class to middle class by being homeowners? TOPA can stabilize the housing market in New York for prices that are affordable for working class. It will help prevent displacement and preserve what is left of our affordable housing stock. It's an opportunity to own or remain in the property where one resides. It's the right of first refusal. We need to invest by state funds to help them acquire the properties. And if we can stabilize people in their homes, then we can stabilize our communities.
That's right.
Voy a hablar un poquito en español. Gracias a todos por estar aquí. Yo soy assemblista Marcela Mitaynes, soy la primera inmigrante indígena peruana en la legislatura estatal. Antes de entrar a la legislatura, yo, como muchos neoyorquinos, también tuve mi problema de vivienda. Cuando en el 2006 vino un propietario, compró mi edificio de 35 apartamentos y en menos de 6 meses pudo desplazar a la mitad de las familias. Yo también fui desplazada de un apartamento que compartí con mi familia por casi 30 años. Esto no es nuevo, estamos viendo esta repetición de comprando nuestros edificios, sabiendo que la renta que están colectando no es suficiente para la hipoteca. Y el plan de ellos es desplazar a los inquilinos que están pagando poca renta para hacer entrar inquilinos que paguen más. Con esta legislación le daríamos la oportunidad a los inquilinos ser dueños, un camino de la clase obrera a la clase media. Esta legislación puede ayudar a estabilizar la marqueta de la vivienda, prevenir desplazamiento y preservar nuestra vivienda asequible a un precio que es justo para el que está vendiendo y el que está comprando. ¿Por qué no, como el Estado, intervenir? Ayudar con fondos para que los inquilinos puedan adquirir las propiedades. Si podemos invertir en nuestros hogares, podemos estabilizarlos y podemos estabilizar nuestra comunidad.
Yeah.
So now I'd like to introduce some tenants from 287 Prospect Avenue to talk a little bit about what they've been going through. And first, we're going to hear from Ms. Ingrid Callender on the history of the building and their organizing effort.
Woo woo!
I'd just like to thank everybody that came out today. It's great that we have this kind of support for this bill, and we hope it passes, okay? Because this will give everybody in New York, not just our building, but in New York, across the city, the 5 boroughs, this opportunity. Everybody under rent stabilization, sooner or later, will be going through the same thing. We are a 421A building, and it's been that way for almost 25 years. And I've been in the building about that long. It was one thing when it started, it's a different thing today. So we have to be ready to protect the rights that we were given as a rent stabilization building. It's not fair. You see what happened to Marcela and her family. She explained it to you. We don't want this to keep happening. It's happened a lot over time in this city. So this is why we're organizing today. This is why we want everyone to rehab this act and support your local congresspeople who are trying to pass this bill.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering. I was looking at the mic like, well, how are we using it?
Thank you, Ms. Callender. And now we're going to listen from Denise Clay, who's also organizing in the building.
Over a decade ago, my husband and I moved into 287 Prospect Avenue. It's the building just across the street. We brought home both our babies to that apartment. It's the only place our kids have ever known. Now, 8 and 10, and in the 10 years that we've lived there, we've built community. We've experienced the rich ups and downs of life, and it's gone from being an apartment to being our home. However, the unfortunate reality when you live in a 421A building like ours, where the tax abatement eventually expires and your building will destabilize, is that even with the gratitude you feel for your rent stabilized status, there's still a tremendous amount of uncertainty and stress. Sorry, I'm nervous. As the end of the 421A grows near in our building, it started to feel like we're living with a countdown clock, reminding us that our time and our homes could be running out. In addition to our building being on and off the market for years, our landlord started warehousing apartments, and our building was starting to show tremendous signs of neglect. Thankfully, through our organizing efforts, we've had some meaningful wins. We discovered that our landlords have been deceiving us for years, having us sign riders with false information about the end of the 421A and our rights as tenants. We were able to get HDC involved and to provide tenants with updated, accurate riders, accurate information about their rights beyond the 421A. We learned there was a regulatory agreement in place and that we had a layer of protection all along. We organized to try to improve conditions and work toward necessary maintenance. But even with the wins, even with our ongoing efforts to organize and hold our landlords accountable, there's an ever-present feeling of vulnerability and vigilance that we have to live with. As renters, we remain at the mercy of our landlords, who clearly do not have our best interest in mind. We need a bill like TOPA, which would not only preserve our housing security, but would allow us to live with the peace of mind and a sense of ease that does not feel possible without ownership. Thank you so much for the help of so many who are here today fighting this fight along with us, including all the tenants of 287 Prospect Avenue. We stand with you in support of TOPA, and we hope we can keep working together to make this important bill a reality.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What we don't talk about is the trauma that's inflicted on our families, our children, and our seniors when they're evicted from the home that they know. This is too much of a reality for too many New Yorkers right now, and we are at a pivotal moment where we need to act. Next, I'd like to introduce Sam Stein, who's going to talk about a recent report.
Thank you, Assembly Member Mitaynes. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you to the tenants at 287 Prospect Ave. We're all here to support TOPA, right?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out almost all New York City residents feel the same. Every year, the Community Service Society of New York does a survey called the Unheard Third Survey of New York City residents. And we asked them this year, what's the one thing you feel like you need to get ahead economically in this city? And overwhelmingly, the answer was affordable housing. It was the answer across demographic groups. It was the answer across the city. But then we asked more specifically. There's this program, this bill called TOPA, and we described in very neutral language what TOPA would do. And we said, do you support this bill or do you oppose it? And 82% of New York City residents said, we support TOPA. 82% of New York City residents. That's like almost 7 million people. What else can 7 million New York City residents agree on? But we agree that tenants should have control of their homes and control of their destinies. That when their building goes up for sale, that they should have a right to buy it, to turn it into permanently affordable housing, to put it under tenant or nonprofit or public control, that it should be their choice and their right. 82% of New Yorkers. This was the case across gender, across race, across boroughs, across ages. Democrats, independents, even majority of Republicans, more than 2/3, said yes to TOPA. So we are calling on the state government to pass TOPA, to put it in the budget, and to make this a reality for all New Yorkers. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sam. Let's do one more chance. Show me what community looks like. This is what community looks like. Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Next, I'd like to bring up 3 more speakers, John, Gary, and Mia.
Can you record? I got you. I can just hold it up. Thank you.
So this is John from 63 Tiffany.
How you guys doing? I'm not much of a public speaker, but when I say TOPA, you say now. TOPA now. TOPA now. TOPA now. TOPA now. That's right. All right, we're gonna get this done. TOPA's near and dear to my heart because in 2009 we got a new landlord. Like, we were under a LIHTC agreement that we didn't even know about. I signed my lease when I was 22 years old. I didn't know what I was doing. Right, so I just signed it, and and I didn't know that there was and the real estate industry likes to put these beautiful names on the sunset. That sunsets are beautiful, right? No, this is not a sunset. This is doomsday. You know what I mean? Don't let them use those words. It's doomsday. When the LIHTC agreement, when a 421A agreement expires, it's doomsday. It's over for you. It's not a beautiful sunset. So, so in 2009, they renewed the program after 15 years. So we didn't even know what was going on, and we just had a new landlord. Now that landlord bought our building for $5.3 million, a 70-unit building. And, in an up-and-coming area at the time, we would have bought that building. It was like $75,000 a unit at the time. So we could have bought that building and, and we wouldn't be going through what we're going through now. So this law is so important to us. It just gives us an opportunity These things can happen. That happened right under, like 1 month. They just told us, send now your rent to this address. And we're like, what's going on? We had no idea what was going on. And and then this guy just went downhill from there. We've been fighting him for 15 years. When she talks about the trauma, people are coming up to me in elevators just crying, they don't know the instability. 15 years, we don't know what's gonna happen, where we're going. Like everybody, like they asked me, a reporter, they asked me, well, what's your plan? And I just stayed quiet and I said, I don't know, I feel stupid. I don't have a plan. There is no plan B. Where am I going? I'm priced out of New York at this point. So if we could have bought it 15 years ago, we wouldn't be in this situation. And if we could buy it now, if TOPA passes now, we could try now. It's a lot more money now. I don't know if we'll even, but we can try now. So everybody should have this opportunity. Anybody that's against TOPA, because I've been trying to figure out, why would you be against TOPA? You're just being malicious. Honestly, you're just being malicious at this point, because it's not asking for you to sell it for less money or anything. Just let us match the offer. That's all it is. It's just an opportunity. That's all. That's all we're asking for, an opportunity. No, nothing free. Just give us an opportunity to engage and not sell it out from under us to another speculative landlord. We got to get them out. We got to stop making homes commodities. These are not commodities. These are homes. These are homes. And, anybody that owns one should respect it as such. And if you don't, I'm going to take this opportunity now that everybody's looking at me to say this. A few days, like a couple of weeks ago, we came up with the worst landlords list, right? That's based on violations. So now who's going to go after them? I keep saying that tenants in America in general are the most abused consumers. There's all kind of watch groups and all that watching all kind of other industries. But for us, I don't know if they're supposed to be there, but I'm telling you, I've had meetings with all the agencies. I don't want to name them because, I'm still working with them. But I've had, and none of them have been responsive. Like we have, the warehousing. We have 6 empty apartments. That's 6 families, some for over 5 years. That's 6 families right now sitting in a shelter that could be in a home. And under the LIHTC agreement, he was supposed to rent them out. That's part of the agreement. So when we bring that up to the agency, I don't know. That's all you get from them. So who protects us? Who's going to go after these bad landlords? Like I don't get it. It's almost bragging rights for them. Next year, I'm going to be number 1, and nothing happens to them. Individually, everybody, the buildings they fight and this and that, but nobody really goes after them. In Binghamton, they went after a landlord. They took away his properties, and for 15 years, he can't be involved in the real estate industry. Right? They took away his license. That can happen. It's not impossible. So why isn't it happening? I don't know. That's beyond the scope of this press conference, though. TOPA would be life-changing it would have been life-changing for us for years ago. It'll be life-changing for us now. It'll give us a chance to compete, to at least try to buy our building. And please, everybody, TOPA. When I say TOPA, you say now. TOPA. Now. TOPA. Now. TOPA. Now. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, John. Next, we're going to hear from Gary from 120 East 19th Street.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your time. It's my pleasure to be here. And I'm sorry about the circumstances, but nonetheless, the something I'd like to say is the rent is too damn high. When the real estate bubble bust, housing prices went down, but rent stayed steady. They kept increasing. The situation we're going through in our building is not much different than anyone else, really. But we've been through several owners. We've been through several owners. We've been through the repeated dealings with DHCR, HUD, HBD, with complaints. I've lived in my building over 20 years, so I've seen from even the very first owner where she would come by personally and say hi on Sundays. They had one family that took care of the whole building. They swept and mopped. They were from Columbia, Mr. Campbell. They swept and mopped from the 6th floor down every day, both sides. As management changed, it's like the services drastically reduced. So you had a guy, one supervisor, I don't work at 5. So, so steadily, we have a steady decline. And just like you said, our properties are used as commodities. The thing with us is what we've managed to do is we're working hard. We built a team within our building. So we're like a solid team where we're cosmopolitan, different races, colors, creeds, religions, whatever. We stick together. We make sure we get things done. So we fought MCIs and we won. We have about 2 rep reductions that are active, right? But we don't really want that. We want repairs and things that get done, right? Even now what happens is there's a new management company that took over, Rose Associates. And they're the worst. They are the worst. So what happens is we've even tried, well, through the grace of God, like we do good things happen to you. You know what I'm saying? So what happened is we've been blessed to have some beautiful people placed in our path. Like, I don't know if you guys know Ada from FTC. She's the one that got us to start our own tenants association about 4 years ago, right? So another person who we met that has been helpful has been Elise. Where's Elise at? Elise Mortality Project. What Elise put us in touch with Ariel from UHAB. So they explained the whole model of how to purchase your own home. So we were hyped about it. As a matter of fact, we went from door to door. We got about 90% of the tenants to sign on to that, right? So now another person that I think it was Elise put us in contact with is Rachel from Brooklyn Level Up. And that's like a community land trust that helps you get everything in order, all the ducks in a row to get yourself ready to purchase, right? We even reached out to ownership. There's an owner named Margaret Stryker. She's also aligned with Central Management. They own tons of properties in New York and in the US. One of us actually went to her teaching classes for her. She's probably not the main owner. Okay, so let me speed this up. Basically, we're at a point where we're ready to buy. We're having an IMP done so we can have a major inspection of the building. So there's a stumbling block. Right now, TOPA is the missing link for us. It's a missing link for a lot of us. So we think that with TOPA, we can accomplish a lot. So with TOPA now, like you mentioned trauma, a lot of people do not consider the mental trauma people go through, like the lack of security, wondering if you're going to be evicted or not, who your next owner is, what rules do they play by, are they fair or not? So it's mind-boggling. It's stressful, you know what I mean? So I think TOPA would be almost like an umbrella and a rainstorm, big umbrella and a rainstorm. To protect you and give you some kind of peace at night. Also with property ownership, more pride in your building, more pride in your neighborhood. To me, it's a win-win. It enhances the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? If you own something, well, even if you rent, you still would take care of it. If you own it, your blood, sweat, and tears is going into that, and you can upgrade it too. Come on, man, it's a win-win. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, who wouldn't sign it? He said 82% of New Yorkers signed for it. So I'm wondering who the 18% are. The landlords? Probably, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know what else could be said. Yeah, the rent too's damn high. So we need security. Thank you, folks. Thank you.
I want to also bring up Mia Perez from Land Use Director for Shahana Hanis.
Good morning, everyone. Bienvenidos. My name is Mia Perez, and I am the Land Use Director for Councilmember Hanif. She is at City Hall today, so sends her regards. I just want to start by thanking this beautiful, beautiful coalition of organizers, the legislation sponsors, and we have seen time and again tenants, New Yorkers, low-income New Yorkers of color be displaced and be put second. And we are so proud to be behind a piece of legislation that puts power back into their hands. I am, standing next to John, who we've been working with for the past couple of months. I have so much deep years. I have so much deep admiration for you and all of the organizers here. So just want to reiterate that we are absolutely here with you all, and we are committed to fighting and working in coalition with you all until this gets passed. So thank you so much for having me, and here in solidarity with you all. Thank you.
All right, let's do a few more chants. When tenants' rights are under attack, what do we do?
Fight back!
When tenants' rights are what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When tenants' rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
All right, great. Next, we're going to hear from Julia. Julia Durante Martinez, who's going to talk about policies in DC and San Francisco.
Hi everyone. My name is Julia Durante Martinez. I work with LISC National, and I'm one of the authors of our new report on TOPA and COPA lessons from DC and San Francisco. Our LISC DC office has 35 years of success lending to TOPA projects, and our LISC Bay Area's partners have been leaders on San Francisco's Community Opportunity to Purchase Acts and housing preservation, financing, and other programs. DC and San Francisco both show us that well-implemented TOPA and COPA policies that are paired with the fast, flexible financing and organizing support are really powerful tools to keep homes affordable and fight speculation by leveling the playing field for community and tenant purchasers. So in DC, just to give an example, TOPA and its financing programs and organizing has preserved over 16,000 affordable units and won repairs in more than 15,000 units since 2006. To put that in context, that's about 40% of all of the units that were sold in multifamily buildings with more than 5 apartments. Wow. That's huge. Imagine the possibilities for New York neighborhoods if tenants here had the same right and the financing and the other support to make it a reality. In San Francisco, COPA and the housing preservation programs there, which housing organizers, the San Francisco Community Land Trust, and other advocates helped to design, have preserved 230 permanently affordable apartments out of over 1,000 that have been preserved citywide since the city first passed its preservation programs. And these are mostly in small buildings that speculators are most often targeting for evictions and rent decontrol in California. So like in DC, San Francisco's COPA and preservation financing are helping to prevent displacement of Black and Brown, immigrant, and LGBTQ+ longtime residents. And they've created a clear process and timeline and funding to sell to community preservation purchasers. So right now, we know that without TOPA and COPA, sellers often don't even notify tenants that their buildings are up for sale, much less negotiate or sell to them. And tenants can organize for better outcomes and even try to match the price. But buildings are still often sold fast to speculators who load up their buildings with debt, jack up rents, evict tenants, and let their buildings deteriorate at much higher rates than other owners. TOPA puts tenants in the driver's seat when their buildings go up for sale. And what DC and San Francisco show us really clearly is that when tenants are in control, they overwhelmingly prioritize affordability and good repair for their homes, whether they're buying the buildings themselves or working with a community partner. So, lots more to say about DC and San Francisco's big successes, lots more to learn from them. Thanks everyone for